In 1921, a man walked into a party meeting in Munich and demanded to be made its leader. The vote was called. The result came back. One vote separated him from obscurity. That man was Adolf Hitler. That party was the NSDAP. And the single vote that gave him control of it did not simply change German history. It changed the history of the entire 20th century. But Hitler is not the only story hiding inside the number one. In 1776, the United States Congress voted on what language the new nation would speak. One vote separated English from German. In 1923, a new republic was being born from the ruins of an empire. One vote decided who would lead it. 3 moments, 3 civilizations, one number. This is 1, the most dangerous number in history. By the end of this video, you will never again say that one vote does not matter. You will learn how a failed artist from Austria took control of a tiny political party by a margin of 1, and what the world looks like if that vote goes the other way. You will learn about the congressional vote that almost made German the official language of the United States, and why most Americans have never heard of it. You will learn how a new republic chose its first leader by the narrowest margin possible, and what that single vote built that still stands today. 1 vote, 3 worlds. Everything changed. To understand why single votes matter, you must first understand what a vote actually is. A vote is not simply a preference, it is a mechanism. It is the moment when the weight of history balances on the thinnest possible point and tips one way or the other based on a single human decision. Most votes in history are not close. Most decisions are made by comfortable margins, by outcomes that were never really in doubt. History records the results and moves on. But occasionally, rarely, and with consequences that echo for centuries, a vote comes down to 1. A single person, a single hand raised or not raised, a single yes or no that separates one world from another entirely. The 3 moments in this video are the times it happened that most completely altered the course of human civilization. Each one involves a decision that seemed, in the moment, like a procedural matter. A party election, a legislative question, a constitutional formality. This is the paradox of consequential votes. The people who cast them are almost never aware of their weight. If they were, if the person in Munich in 1921 had understood that their vote would determine whether 50 million people lived or died, they would have chosen differently. If the congressman in Philadelphia had understood that their vote would determine the operating language of the most powerful nation in human history, they would have paused. If the assembly member in Ankara had understood that their vote would determine whether a 1,000-year-old religious institution survived or was abolished within the year, they would have felt the gravity of it. But votes do not announce themselves as historic. They arrive disguised as routine, as procedure, as one item among many on an agenda that also includes budget approvals and scheduling questions and the ordinary business of organizations that do not yet know they are standing at the hinge of history. That is the cruelty of the number one. It does not warn you. It does not arrive with trumpets. It arrives as a hand raised in a room full of people who think they are doing something ordinary. And it changes everything. None of the people voting understood what they were actually deciding. They thought they were attending a meeting. They were deciding the shape of the modern world. It is July 1921. The National Socialist German Workers' Party, the NSDAP, is a small, largely insignificant political organization in Munich. It has fewer than 3,000 members. One of dozens of nationalist fringe parties competing for attention in the chaotic, desperate politics of the Weimar Republic. A Germany humiliated by Versailles, economically devastated, politically fractured, searching for someone to blame and someone to follow. Its most effective speaker is a 32-year-old former corporal named Adolf Hitler. He has been with the party for 2 years. He is its propaganda chief, valued for his ability to draw crowds, but not yet trusted with actual power. In July 1921, Hitler issues an ultimatum. He will resign unless he is made absolute leader, with dictatorial powers, answerable to no one. There are members who distrust him deeply, who find him too radical, too unstable, too dangerous to be handed unchecked authority over even a small organization. The vote is called. Hitler wins by one vote. One person in that room cast the vote that gave Adolf Hitler dictatorial control of the NSDAP. What happens next is not a mystery. Hitler rebuilds the party in his image. He attempts the beer hall putsch in 1923, lands in prison, writes Mein Kampf. He rebuilds again. By 1933, he is Chancellor of Germany. By 1939, the world is at war. By 1945, 50 million people are dead. But none of that is inevitable in July 1921. The NSDAP, without Hitler's leadership, does not become the Nazi Party. Without the Nazi Party, the specific machinery of the Holocaust does not exist. One vote, one person. One decision the person who made it did not understand they were making. The name of the person who cast that vote is not recorded. They walked out of that beer hall in Munich in July 1921 and back into their ordinary life. They read the newspapers. They watched what followed. They lived inside the consequences of what their hand had done. And history never asked them why. And you cannot know yet which of the next two stories is more shocking, because both of them are true. It is 1776. The Continental Congress is building a country from scratch, deciding its laws, its institutions, its identity. Among the questions, what language will this new nation speak? This is not trivial. The population of the 13 colonies is not uniformly English-speaking. Large German-speaking communities exist, particularly in Pennsylvania. French speakers in the South. Dutch speakers in New York. The question of an official language is genuinely open. The vote is called. English wins by one vote. Here the historical record requires honesty. The specific claim that German almost became America's official language is one of the most repeated stories in political folklore. Historians debate its details. The vote most commonly referenced concerns printing government documents in German as well as English, not replacing English entirely. But the underlying truth survives. The German-speaking population of early America was large enough that the question of German as an official or co-official language was genuinely in play, and the margin by which English was confirmed as primary was, in at least one documented vote, a single vote. One vote, and the most powerful nation in history speaks English. English becomes, over the following 2 centuries, the global language of science, commerce, diplomacy, and the Internet. One vote separated 2 versions of the modern world, and the person who cast it almost certainly had no idea. Consider what that means in practice. Every scientific paper published in English, every diplomatic treaty negotiated in English, every line of code written in English syntax, every global institution, the United Nations, NATO, the World Bank, conducting its business in English. The language that one vote confirmed as primary in a Philadelphia legislature in 1776 became the operating system of the modern world. The person who cast that vote did not know they were doing any of this. They thought they were settling an administrative question about government documents. But the third story surprises people most, because it is the closest, the most precisely documented, and the most consequential for a country that still exists today. It is October 1923. The Ottoman Empire has collapsed after 6 centuries. The Turkish War of Independence has ended. A new state is being built from the ruins of one of history's longest-lasting empires. The Grand National Assembly votes on the form of the new state. Republic or not, unanimous. Every member votes yes. But the second vote, who will lead this republic, is not unanimous. Mustafa Kemal, the military commander who led the War of Independence, receives the presidency. The margin is not recorded in all sources as a single vote, but the assembly debates make clear the outcome was not predetermined, that opposition was genuine and organized, that the result was far from certain until it was announced. What is certain is what follows. Ataturk becomes the first president of the Republic of Turkey. He abolishes the caliphate. He replaces Islamic law with secular civil codes. He changes the alphabet from Arabic script to Latin letters. He gives women the right to vote before France, before Italy, before most of Western Europe. The Turkey that exists today, its institutions, its legal system, its alphabet, its identity, flows directly from the man who won that vote. Consider what Ataturk's reforms meant in a single generation. Children who were born into an empire governed by religious law, using an Arabic alphabet, with no political rights for women. Those same children grew up in a secular republic, reading Latin letters, watching their mothers vote. An entire civilization transformed within one human lifetime, and the man who drove that transformation won his first vote by the narrowest possible margin. One vote, one republic, 1 century of consequences still unfolding. 3 votes, 3 civilizations, 3 outcomes that shape the modern world. But there is a question that haunts all 3, more uncomfortable than any historical fact. Who was the one? In Munich in 1921, someone cast the deciding vote for Hitler. That person lived to see what they had done. They lived through the rise of the Nazi Party, through the war, through the revelation of the Holocaust. Did they know? Did they understand at some point in the following decades that they were the one? We do not know who they were. The historical record does not preserve their name. The person who gave Hitler control of the NSDAP by a single vote is anonymous. They made the most consequential individual political decision of the 20th century, and history does not remember them. In Philadelphia, the deciding vote was cast in a legislature full of men whose names history does know. But the specific individual whose vote was the margin is also lost. In Ankara, the assembly members are documented, the names exist, but the weight of that single deciding vote is absorbed into the collective record. 3 decisions, 3 anonymous individuals, 3 outcomes that determined which version of history the rest of humanity would inhabit. Here is what the number 1 actually means, not 1 as a beginning, not 1 as simplicity, 1 as the margin between 2 versions of reality. In Munich, the version that almost happened is a world where Hitler remains a propaganda functionary in an obscure party that dissolves into Weimar politics, where the machinery of the Holocaust never assembles, where 50 million people do not die. That world was 1 vote away. In Philadelphia, the version that almost happened is a country where the founding documents of the most powerful nation in history are written in German, where the global spread of English either does not happen or happens differently, where 2 centuries of American dominance reached the world in a different tongue. That world was 1 vote away. In Ankara, the version that almost happened is a post-Ottoman state led by someone other than the man who abolished the caliphate, secularized the legal system, changed the alphabet, and built the institutions of the modern Turkish Republic. That world was 1 vote away. 3 times, in 3 different countries, in 3 different centuries, the world stood at a fork, and each time 1 person, attending what seemed like an ordinary meeting, was the fork. They did not know. They could not have known. No one ever knows in the moment they cast a vote whether theirs is the one that matters. That is what makes one the most dangerous number in history, not because it is rare, but because it is always possible. 3 votes, 3 worlds, 1 number. The person who gave Hitler control of the NSDAP by a single vote in 1921 is unknown to history. They made the most consequential individual political decision of the 20th century. No one remembers their name. Think about that the next time someone tells you your vote does not matter. If this story changed how you think about the number 1, leave a comment. Which of the 3 votes do you believe was the most consequential? Subscribe to the Vault of Numbers. Every week, 1 number, 1 story history forgot to tell you. The next number in the vault? In 1258, the greatest library the world had ever built burned for 7 days. The river ran black with ink, and humanity lost something it has never recovered. The vault remains open.